Hi, Miss Hines here. I want to talk to you about the lab you did the other day where you had the flashlight and you were circling the beam the flashlight made on the graph paper, and the graph paper represented different locations on Earth. So remember, this one represented like the middle of the hemisphere because it's not quite direct and not quite indirect. This one was direct. It represented the equator. And this one was indirect. That represented the North or the South Pole. Do you remember doing this lab? You collected the data. You counted how many squares and how many partial squares. I know you do. Okay, so I have a homemade demonstration that I made for you. We want to prove that the reason Earth has direct and indirect rays isn't because the sun makes strong or weak energy. It has to do with the shape of planet Earth. Planet Earth is round. So here's my homemade model. This is going to represent a direct ray, or the place that a direct ray lands, like near the equator. And this is going to represent an indirect ray, kind of up near the North Pole. It's going to represent the space that the indirect ray is going to land. Here, I have a container of little plastic spheres. I borrowed them from my son. Don't tell him I took them. I need to change the camera so you can see what I'm going to do. So, here is my direct beam where the sun is going to land. And I'm going to pour all of my sun beam onto this one spot. Can you see that some of the sunbeam has stacked up? They're like two beads on top of each other. And if I take this exact same amount of sun energy and I pour it into the indirect beam, it doesn't even fill up the space. So we can see that the direct beam of energy is really concentrated and the indirect beam of energy is really stretched out. So these direct beams, they don't have anything to do with the fact that the sun makes strong energy or weak energy. It has to do with the shape of planet Earth. Planet Earth is a sphere, so the place where the sun's energy is landing directly gets a lot of energy, and it can get pretty hot. In places where the Earth is curved, the beam of energy gets stretched out. It has to fill up more space, so the amount of energy or the amount of heat that comes is a lot less. And it has to do with the fact that Earth is round. Earth is a sphere.